Previously on Startup Diaries.
We made it out of Peru into Ecuador, if only just barely, to the middle of the world. Our trip, now having exceeded 17,000 kilometers, was showing us two things. First, like the tourists watching which direction water flows near the equator, people will often believe what they are told, perhaps because it's easier than questioning. And second, there are those who fight the status quo, who are changing the way we think of work and of the so-called career path. These were the people we were looking for. Our trip was about experimenting with a new model, living a life less ordinary, and meeting others who were doing the same. And this brought us to the final leg of our journey.
It's Startup Diaries. We're Fab and Dom. We escaped our office, packed up our business, and hopped into a Land Rover with our friend Vin. Our mission: travel through South America and meet people who use technology to redefine work.
By the time we got to Bogota, we were pretty tired of it all. We couldn't imagine spending a day in yet another co-working space. 8 months of constant movement, meeting new people, hunting for good Wi-Fi was beginning to make parts of the journey feel mundane. Dom was gone, and Vin would be leaving soon. But before, I was going to cross something off my bucket list. Speaking at TED.
Why are your sisters out?
Oh my god. We are invited to speak at TEDx Bogota.
I've never seen him that nervous in my whole life.
I was sick the last 10 days in bed. Every 3 hours changing my clothes because we were soaking wet. They say you have to prepare 6 months before the TED Talk, and now we have 7 days. I don't know what we talk about. I don't know. I have no slides. I have no idea. And I just hired a professional speaking coach who wants me to fill in this document with my key messages and all that crap. And I have no idea what my key messages are. Start strong and stronger. Wow, opening statement, bridge to you, 3 main points. Build around the takeaway message. I don't know anything of this.
Just be Fabian, man. Like all that stuff is in your blood already.
To distract us from it all, we met up with Ale, a Colombian sound engineer we met through Startup Diaries, who was kind enough to show us around her city.
Did you say mommy?
Yeah,
Why do people say mommy?
because it's like, I don't know, Colombian slang.
Mommy.
Mami, mamita, mamacita,
Papacito.
papacito.
Mamacito.
It's not, it's not always compliments, it's just the way you,
Okay.
some people talk to you.
Streets are so narrow here.
Yeah,
So why are there so many soldiers?
because the president is really close over there.
Oh, you're the president? Let's go visit.
As we climbed higher in the streets of Bogota, the more melancholic Vin and I were becoming, aware that just in a couple of moments we would be parting ways.
Why, be Marvin, right? Fuck, it's the last freaking episode, man. So, man, here we are.
Here we are, dude.
Here
Your
we
last
are.
day.
Yeah. It was a good 7 months, man. You take me to the airport?
I'm gonna cry. Remember how we hugged when I
Yeah,
picked you up in
when-
Buenos Aires?
Yeah, definitely.
And then we picked up Dominic the next day. You were such a shitty navigator.
You're such a shit driver, man, like way too fast.
Dude, we had not one accident. That's amazing. We didn't touch anything. It was,
You killed us twice almost, of 3 times.
Well, but I didn't.
Like highlights in terms of like favorite places and all that stuff, I would say Peru and Lima was my
Yeah.
favorite place. Like really nice people. The area where we stayed was fucking nice.
Barranco.
Good food,
Oh yeah.
nice
food.
people I met. I've learned a lot. I think I'm going to Amsterdam, sort all my things out, make sure my fucking ex-bosses pay my money out. Then quit my job. And then I really tend to go into Berlin, I think.
Yeah, but then.
Thank you very much, man. It was a pleasure working for you.
And like that, it was just me and La Oficina. But before packing up the Land Rover and getting on a plane home, I had one last thing to do.
It's like 9 pages I fucking have to learn, you know? It's in 2 hours. This is my office. It's a Land Rover Defender from 1997. The last 6 months we were traveling through whole South America. We started in Uruguay, went through Argentina, went to Chile, then to Peru, to Ecuador, and after driving 12,000 kilometers, we finally came here to Colombia, Bogota.
As I drove to the port of Cartagena, where I would ship La Oficina, our faithful Defender, back, it felt like a lifetime ago that David encouraged me to buy a Land Rover in Buenos Aires. This Defender had been a catalyst, combining Helpando, the company we were running, showing the innovative side of South America, and the Defender, to launching the Startup Diaries project. Our journey as a nomad company had been a successful one. Nearly 20,000 kilometers of driving through Uruguay, Argentina, Chile, Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia. We closed lucrative deals with high-profile customers from the most improbable places. Doing work in desert cyber coffees with chicken running around on the ground while dressed in clothes that almost looked like a statement, but weren't. And with Vin, sporting a Flintstone-sized white bone in his hair. We completed 30 data migrations, designed 13 help centers, developed 7 apps and led 3 agent trainings, and had about 150 calls, of which we missed only 1. Not only did we maintain the company, but even doubled our revenues compared to the previous year in our office in Berlin. We had driven up volcanoes, crossed deserts, and woke up on beaches, showered and jumped into waterfalls, and partied in the most obscure places with people we had just met. We were featured in an 8-part series in Wired magazine. We spoke on 5 radio stations, 3 TV shows, and many more newspapers. We also had roughly 24 car breakdowns. We were perhaps naive in thinking we could bear our same workload, produce a web series, and travel at the same time. In Berlin, we worked 7 to 10 hours a day. On the road, we never worked more than 4 hours. When you know you have to finish a project in 2 hours before you enter the desert, you finish in 2 hours. We developed a focused and creative mindset and became more productive than we could have imagined, using our tools the best ways possible and becoming master of shortcuts and efficiency hacks. We also had proven to ourselves that work is not tied to a specific place or time, that it can happen anywhere, anytime. We met people across Latin America who had changed the model, who worked how and where they wanted, who had designed their lives, who arrived to work on a skateboard, and, most of all, people who invented their own way of making a living. This was important to me. Deep inside, I hold freedom very dear, not only for myself. I genuinely want people to be free, to be themselves, and to be able to express their unique individuality. And that is what so many of these people we met, young and old, were doing. They were taking matters into their own hands and helping each other out instead of moaning about life's hardships and the dullness of routine. We don't believe in blindly accepting a system that forces us to work 9 to 6. We don't believe in a system that dictates when and how to get out of bed, what kind of clothes to wear, that keeps us stuck in traffic for hours or with our faces pressed against subway doors twice per day. Heating our lunch in our cafeteria microwaves before returning to our desk to eat in front of our Facebook feeds, and then need to take a couple Prozacs so we can rinse, wash, and repeat. When and why did this become the normal way to do things anyway? Traveling around, solving our lives and new challenges on a daily basis, not being able to rely on habits and patterns to ignore the beautiful details of this journey, was much more enriching than buying the latest car, the iPhone, whatever number it is nowadays, or $5 cappuccinos. No, I don't believe that you need to drop everything and get on a plane and go buy yourself a Land Rover and drive across South America. But if this project showed me anything, it's that there are people who have been given little opportunity in face of great odds and have made the choice to pursue a life that is their own. And that's why I felt so connected to the people we met around South America, the Mirnas, Macarenas, Brunos, Ernestos and Valerias of this world, courageous people who defined work and life for themselves and didn't buy into the myth society has created about how a life should be lived.